going to let you go over, obviously, your presentation. We're talking managers, we're talking general colors, we're taking a little bit of a closer look than obviously the videos you've been doing with us. So I'm going to let you do your thing. I'll pop on here at the end as well to chat back and forth. Here's the really cool thing before you get started. We understand that this can be a sensitive topic, right? We understand that as you're looking at your teams, as you manage your different teams, that everybody has a color that they identify with, and some of those are hard to unravel. So here's what we've done. During Amanda's discussion, rather than the chat, you can obviously chat below, don't worry, but during the actual discussion as well, you can send us a text. So we actually opened up an anonymous text line, so feel free to text that. I'm going to drop that in the chat here in just a minute. You can drop us a text message, ask your questions, we'll feed those to Amanda, but that way we keep it nice and anonymous. We'll also be pulling in our emails as well, so support@p1learning.com. So we'll drop that in the chat right now, but Amanda, I'm going to hush up and I'm going to turn it over to you. So off you go.
All right, thanks, Brian. So excited to be with y'all today. Welcome, everyone. Today, we are diving into the True Colors personality profile, and hopefully you have already watched some of the videos. But it's really simple, but it's very powerful. It's a framework that helps us understand ourselves and others. So there are 4 color types. We have blue, gold, green, and orange. And one is not any better than the other. Each represents a distinct personality style with its own strengths, challenges, and motivations. And most of the time, we're all a mix. I know that I'm predominantly 3 colors. I have given the test, and some people are like literally a tie between 2 colors, but normally one tends to stand out. And you can also change colors. I will tell you that when kind of going back to the DISC test, which was a really long time ago, I was the director of human resources, marketing, and education for a hospital, and my dominant personality was over the I, which was the one that's like the people person. And then when I switched jobs to be over a nonprofit and worked a lot with people, the I took over the D. And so the same is true for True Colors. It's the same. I see people that are honestly one color at work and one color at home, which is also kind of interesting. But we are going to get started. We want you to be able to work well with your team. So think for a moment about someone on your team who you really click with. The 2 of you are usually on the same page. You get along, you think alike. And then now think about someone on your team that might drive you a little bit crazy. So we're going to talk about that today and why that's the case. As we go through each color, think about which one sounds like you. Your dominant color influences how you lead, how you communicate, how you handle stress, and how you work with others. We'll also look at your strengths and challenges and how to apply that to team dynamics. So again, take mental notes as we go. See if you can spot your coworkers or family members in these descriptions too. All right, so we're going to move on to blue. Brian. All right. Blues are empathetic, compassionate, and deeply relationship driven. They thrive on emotional connections. They seek authenticity, and they care deeply about others' feelings. We've already said that they want everyone to be happy all the time. So their strengths are that they're warm, they're loyal, they're great communicators, and they're intuitive about others' needs. They do have some challenges. Sometimes they take things really personally. Again, they totally avoid conflict, and they get emotionally drained. Some careers that are prominent for a blue would be counselors, teachers, social workers, and artists. These are all roles that really make a difference. So, how do we inspire a blue? You want to show appreciation. You want to listen. You want to create harmony. They want to be valued, not just for what they do, but for who they are. So, how do we motivate and engage them? We offer sincere recognition for their contributions. You want to foster a warm, inclusive team culture. Assign roles where they can support, mentor, or build relationship, and emphasize the deeper meaning or impact of their work. And there can be team tensions. So, blues with our greens. Our blues may feel that the green is too detached or focused solely on logic. So, you want to encourage mutual respect. Remind both that empathy and analysis both serve the team. With oranges, the blues may view the oranges as insensitive or too spontaneous. So, as a leader, you want to help blue team members set boundaries and appreciate the energy that the oranges bring. With goals, blues may feel goals are overly rigid or impersonal. So, you want to support communication styles that bring structure and organization and emotion. So, let's talk about goals. Moving on to goals, they're our organizers. They're structured, they're reliable, they love tradition and routine. They thrive when there's a plan, a process, and a schedule. Their strengths are that they're loyal, they're organized, they're hardworking, and they're dependable. So their challenges are that they can be rigid, critical, and uncomfortable with sudden change. You'll notice that career examples for gold would be accountants, managers, military, and law enforcement. So these are all roles with rules and structure. They love rules. So to manage a goal, you want to be clear with expectations, honor deadlines, respect their need for order, give them a checklist, and they will conquer the world. How do we motivate them? You want to set clear expectations, goals, and timelines. Acknowledge their reliability and attention to detail. Assign them planning or coordination responsibilities. Offer a stable, predictable work environment with clear rules. So let's talk about how they get along with others. A gold with an orange. The goals may see oranges as disorganized or unreliable. So you want to help both appreciate each other's strengths, creativity versus consistency. With blues, goals may feel that blues are too emotionally driven or too slow to act. So you want to emphasize that both empathy and efficiency are both wonderful assets. Goals may find greens too theoretical or resistant to rules. So you use this pairing to balance innovation with execution. Now we're going to move on to our greens. Our greens are our thinkers. They're logical, curious, and driven by ideas, not emotions. They love problem solving, analyzing, and improving systems. Their strengths are that they're very intelligent, they're strategic, and they're independent. Their challenges are that they can seem a little aloof, overly analytical, or emotionally disconnected. Careers for greens would be scientists, engineers, philosophers, analysts. These are all roles that require a lot of depth and autonomy. So, to engage a green, you want to give them space to think, present data, they're all about some data, and skip the fluff. They don't like it. They value competence and logic above emotional appeals. So, how do we motivate them and engage them? We assign challenging, complex problems to solve. We allow autonomy and time for deep thinking. Acknowledge their expertise and their innovative ideas, and keep communication focused, clear, and objective. So, now we'll talk about how they get along with others. They may view blues as overly emotional or personal, so you want to encourage greens to value that emotional insight as part of effective leadership. They may perceive oranges as impulsive or unfocused. So, show how experimentation can lead to innovation. With golds, they may feel that goals are too structured or resistant to new ideas. So, as a leader, you use their contrast to balance process with progress. Now we're moving on to oranges. Oranges are our dynamos. A lot of oranges are salespeople. They're bold, they're adventurous, and all about action. They live in the moment, love excitement, and are natural risk takers. So their strengths are that they're energetic, adaptable, creative, and fearless. Their challenges are that they can be impulsive, they dislike structure, and they definitely struggle with routine. So, career choices for them, examples are athletes, performers, entrepreneurs, firefighters, any role with adrenaline and action. How do we inspire an orange? You want to keep things fresh and fun. Always remember the word fun. Recognize wins really fast and don't micromanage. Give them freedom and a challenge, and they'll rise to it. So, how do we motivate and engage them? We provide variety, excitement, and hands on experiences. Let them lead fast moving creative projects or solve problems under pressure. Offer immediate feedback and visible rewards. Keep the work environment dynamic and flexible. So let's talk about how they get along with our other colors. With goals, oranges may see goals as overly controlling or rigid. So encourage oranges to recognize the value of consistency and planning. With greens, they may feel greens are too slow or overly focused on theory. So help them see how deep thinking complements quick action. They may misread blues as overly sensitive or emotional, so promoting emotional intelligence as a strength for both creativity and leadership. So, moving on, Brian, next is why true colors matter. Why are we even talking about this? Because when you know someone's color, you unlock how to connect with them. It improves communication, reduces conflict, and strengthens teams. At work, it helps with collaboration, motivation, and productivity. At home, it helps you meet others where they are. So think about this. Think of one person that you often clash with. Can you guess after hearing the colors what?
Oh no, Amanda, I think we lost you there for a second. Uh, so we'll.
Now?
Oh, there we go. We lost you just for a second. So you were just getting into think about somebody. You pictured somebody in mind. Let's think about what color they identify with. So just wanted to pop in as we just lost your internet connection.
Oh, okay. So I was saying, think of one person that you often clash with. And think about after hearing the colors that we just went through, what color they may be. And compared to the color that you are, how would you approach them differently now? And we're going to talk about that. There are communication differences. So let's kind of talk, how do we deal with speaking different languages? I'm going to give you an example. A team was working on an important project, and everyone was asked to share feedback on a new idea. So the blue person, of course, responded warmly in their loving, sweet way. I love where this is going. I really believe it will make a difference. Let me know how I can support the group. So the green person, of course, kept it brief and analytical. It's just very to the point. 3 quick points. We need more data because they're all about their data. The timeline needs review, and one step isn't very clear. The gold was very direct and focused on structure. Thanks. Please confirm the deadline and who's responsible for each part so we stay on track. And the orange, they didn't reply by email at all. Instead, they dropped by to say, hey, I've got a great idea for this. Do you mind if I just run with it? So at first, looking at that, the team was really frustrated. Some thought others were too emotional, too blunt, too slow, or too pushy. But once they talked through their true colors, everything clicked. They realized that blues lead with connection, greens lead with clarity, golds lead with structure, and oranges lead with energy. So once they understood each other's communication styles, they stopped talking past each other and they started working together. We don't all communicate the same way, but when we learn to speak each other's language, teams run smoother, ideas get stronger, and people feel truly heard. So, how does a manager manage a team with different colors? With blues, you want to start with connection. Ask how they feel, not just what they think. With the gold, you want to provide timelines, responsibilities, and details up front. With the green, you want to present data, logic, and purpose. Avoid small talk and important conversations. They don't like it. With an orange, you want to get to the point quickly. Give them freedom to move and create. And one more tidbit, keep emails short and structured for goals and greens, but check in personally during meetings for blues and oranges. Great leaders don't just communicate, they translate. When you speak to each person in their style, you lead in a way that everyone can follow. And that's how strong teams are built. Here's an example of a success story using our true colors and how they turned around this team. So, a department manager at a regional media company was struggling with team tension. Meetings were really tense, deadlines were missed, and collaboration felt super forced. The team had a lot of talent, but they had no chemistry. So, after introducing the True Colors personality profile, everything changed. They discovered the content manager was a really strong blue. She craved harmony, but she had always felt shut down. The sales director was pure orange, so quick to move with great ideas, but often steamrolled others, but not really meaning to. The technical lead was green. He needed space to think, and he disliked small talk. The project coordinator was gold. So he was trying to keep everyone on task, but frustrated with all the chaos. It's super frustrated. So once they understood each other's personalities, they shifted. The blue was given space to lead team check ins and offer feedback. The orange got flexibility in how he pitched ideas, but he did agree to slow down during the planning. The green was encouraged to lead strategy sessions with no pressure to socialize. The gold was empowered to set deadlines and organize details with the team's buy-in. So in less than a month, collaboration improved. Deadlines were met, respect replaced frustration. And the manager said it wasn't about changing anyone, it was about finally seeing each other clearly. So before we wrap up, I want to remind you one last time that different colors prefer different communication styles. Golds want clear, direct instructions with a plan. Blues need that positive personal interaction and emotional connection. Greens prefer logical, fact-based discussions without unnecessary small talk. Oranges like fast, to the point communication and excitement. So adjust your communication approach based on your colleagues' colors to improve teamwork and avoid frustration. Also, by leveraging each other's colors and strengths, teams can balance efficiency and creativity. So goals create order, keeping projects very structured. Greens find the best solutions, ensuring strategic success. Blues build team morale, keeping everyone super engaged. Oranges drive action, ensuring that things get done. So if a team is working on a new project launch, a gold will manage the timeline and ensure deadlines are met. A green will analyze risk and suggest the best strategy. A blue will ensure everyone is working together smoothly. And an orange will promote the project with enthusiasm and creativity. When we understand the colors of the people we work with, we stop clashing and we start clicking. The most successful teams don't look the same. They bring all the colors to life. Every team is better when all four colors are understood and appreciated. Use what you've learned today to adjust your approach, build trust, and bring out the best in everyone. And remember, managing teams isn't about changing people, it's about understanding them. Your team success starts with seeing their true colors. All right, Brian.
Amanda, this is really good stuff, and we actually have several questions coming in. I don't actually see any on the chat, but I've gotten a couple on text message. I know Jen's feeding some as well through email. So I don't want to go too far after here, but one of the questions I think that flows perfectly after you just talked. Should I hire a team based upon getting a mixture of colors? So if you're looking at your team now, and again, we all seem to be a smaller team than we've ever had, I feel like. But if I've got a team of oranges and a green, do I need to go out there and look for a blue, or should we just let that happen naturally? So your thoughts on, should we hire based on the having a rainbow within our offices?
Actually, if you have a team with someone from each of the colors, your team is going to be the most efficient and work the best that way. And a lot of times, what tends to happen is, I told you that I'm an orange. And so I'm very attracted to the orange person because I'm like, oh, they'll be so much fun to work with and this will be great.
Yeah.
Well, in reality, it's not an orange that I need to work with. I need a gold that's going to keep me centered, right? So
Yeah.
that's what I see happening. I mean, it may be, I just did a workshop for a group last week that had every color except for orange in it. And, now they know how to work with each other. And it's totally fine if you're missing a color. But my point being, don't just try to hire someone that's like you, because that is definitely not effective.
What about we have so many folks on 10-Minute Trainer Network that are sales focused. So as we are looking at our sales teams, in fact, I just had a manager reach out to me yesterday afternoon, looking to go through some testing and for a potential hire. thoughts that managers should look in different traits for those sellers. Do you say, oh my gosh, are you a believer in saying, well, you want to have a seller that is good at, who's an orange, but you want them to have a little, gold as well to make sure that they're, have a little bit of a routine, they have clear set goals, or what are your thought processes on the sales side for managers going out there and recruiting?
Well, I have been doing this training, actually sales training, and the next videos coming out that Jen and I were just talking about are using true colors for selling. So
Yeah.
it's how do you sell to an orange? How do you sell to a blue? Because you sell differently to them. And again, it comes back to the team. And if you know who your clients are, then ideally you would choose a salesperson based on their color that is going to react well with that particular client.
It's that's a Actually, that was going to lead me to one of my questions: is should we match our sellers up to clients similar colors? So the answer is yes. Yeah,
Yes.
and I think that's the perfect case of that. Let's say that we've got, I mean, gosh, Jen and I go through this all the time. Is that we're outreaching to a specific individual. Maybe we're not getting good feedback, and maybe we just need to shift up our approach. And it has more to do probably with our personality traits as it does with anything else. That, oh, hey, these two people identify with each other because they're both you know, green oriented, or they're gold oriented. I love that. I would also, if it's fair to say too, I'm a salesperson at heart. That's what I love to do. And I remember there was a time that I attended a session. They said, "Do not hire a blue person." Right? They're emotional. All they care about is they can't see past anything other than the sale. And I look at myself in the mirror going, "Oh my gosh, I chose the wrong career path. I'm screwed." But at that point in time, I was getting so hung up on the color, or hung up on the description of a blue, that I was like, "No, wait a second. I feel like I make a good salesperson because I care. Like, I truly care about every single individual that I work with." And does that affect me from time to time? Sure, maybe. But to me, I think that's what sets me apart from potentially other folks out there, that I do actually care. So agree with that. It doesn't necessarily matter where the individuals are on colors. It really, you know, everybody will have just a different take on
100%. No, I agree. And you would sell better as a blue to certain people than I would sell as an orange. And even just kind of thinking about too, again, it's so important if you're able to pair with your clients, because as an orange, I don't like small talk. I'm like, just give me the facts, make it fun, and I'm happy about it. You
yeah.
are going to go into someone and just be like, I want to know your story. Like,
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
me about your family vacation. And I can't sit there and listen. I mean, like, my mind is gone in like 2 seconds when someone's telling me all of that. So you would definitely be a much better salesperson for certain people than I would be. But the key point is, when you listen to the videos, is to figure out what type of person that is, what color are they that you are selling to, so that you know how to better engage with them, no matter what color you are.
Or just communicate, right? I mean, you were talking about, the reasons why we need to know, and I'm flipping through notes here, but that conflict, but communication, and we have, the the privilege, I should say, of hearing from a lot of folks all over the country of all times. And one of the number one things that keeps people awake is just good communication. And it's a challenge. And, we don't have to immediately look at somebody and say, "Oh, you're an orange," right? Nobody really wants to be profiled, because I think it's really important to say that we all have traits or colors that span all of them a little bit, right? We have little things, a part of our lives, or things that we've been brought up by, that we identify with every color of personality. And we don't need to just say, oh, you are a blue, Brian, you stick in the blues and this is the only thing you can do. I think it's okay to realize, don't just put somebody in that box. Understand that everybody has a little bit more to that. But by and large, the biggest piece of them comes from that color. And so we can cater our messaging towards that as opposed to just calling it out, right? I feel like there's a lot of times where it's like, oh my gosh, you're judging me, right? You think I'm a blue, right? So, I just want to make sure that everybody, understands that it's not just one color that identifies us. It's a lot of things, and we don't want to be bucketed too, if that makes some sense.
No, that does make perfect sense. And as I said to begin with, we have a little bit of each color in us. Most everyone does.
Got a question that just actually hit as well that Jen, this one was actually in the live chat here. Um, the questions is, should we learn how to be should we learn how to be all things to all people, or do we stick with our specific colors?
Oh, no, no, no. No, that's part of it is that you do want to just be able to be sensitive to everyone and how they feel about certain things. And even just if you're talking about working with other team members, there have to be things that I said today that you're sitting there thinking, oh, well, in dealing with Jen, this is why she says what she says, or this is why Speed says this, or Darren says this. And when you're more aware of it and cognizant of it, then it makes a huge difference in your communication. Even
Yeah,
thinking families and, you know,
yeah,
friends and everything else. So, no, but obviously you want to be able to communicate with everyone.
yeah,
That's the goal.
no, and I think you're exactly right. That it's just kind of knowing that in the back of your head of generally where is this person navigating to, and I'm a natural person that I navigate towards those relationship drivens and the sales side of things. So if I'm presenting to a green per se, and I'm a blue, right? I need to spend less time on the weather. Oh my gosh, it's August. It's 87 degrees. It's beautiful here in Kansas City, and I need to get more down to the analytics, right? Because they don't they don't care. They just don't care. They may be doesn't mean that they're a bad person, but they're wired more to talk about just get to the numbers, Brian. What's the ROI? Hit me with it. So it's just understanding how to break through that. It doesn't mean you can't have small conversations from time to time. And Amanda, I know you and I mean, I'll pick your brain all the time when you go to a tropical location on vacation. So I just naturally say, where are you going? Because I just want to live in everybody else's vacation from time to time. So I understand that. But I feel like this has been really helpful. Obviously, looking forward to a part two. Um, for on the sales oriented side. I know we've got a couple other questions here. We're going to toss up your information on where folks can go through this. If you've not taken Amanda's personality test, I really recommend it. Amanda, actually, that's another question we get. Should I invest? Should we take a big personality test prior to hiring folks? I I'm a I love the little test that you put together. I think it's so easy just to generally understand individuals. So do you want to talk about that for anybody who may or may not be aware of that test that you put together on 10 Minute Trainer Network?
Sure. So the reason I use True Colors is because it is literally a 5-minute test. I gave it to my husband last night. I knew what color he was, but I just wanted to make certain. And so I made him take it and I timed him, and it took him like 4 minutes to take it. And there's no cost. You can just go onto the network, print it off, and it's literally a front and back and takes less than 5 minutes. And then you know what everyone on your team is. You know what color they are and how they like to be communicated with.
Yeah, it was very eye opening to our team. It made a lot of sense when we went through it. We work with a lot of oranges at 10 Minute Trainer Network, but that's exciting, right? We have energy, we have passion. But I got to tell you, Amanda, you have so many wonderful ideas, but you are probably one of the most organized people I know. So you've got to have a lot of gold in you as well.
I do have gold. Yes. The only
Yeah,
color I don't have is green.
yeah.
I'm pretty much orange, very blue, and very gold.
I love that. So if you've not taken the test, we'll make sure to post this actually with the recording as well. But we'll send out an email and get that test out there because it really takes 4 or 5 minutes and it's really helpful. So Amanda, we'll go ahead and wrap up now unless there's anything else you'd like to add here. Appreciate everybody for joining us this afternoon on